Hey, what's up, fam? On the last episode of the Positive Perspectives podcast, me and my special guest AJ, we talked about the mindset of Caresha of the City Girls, and we had a great talk. And we're going to close out our discussion this week with part 2 of Caresha. Tell me what's on your mind. We hope you enjoy. Let's dive in.
Actually, if you would think about it, if Diddy could be anything mythically, he would be a vampire.
He'd be a vampire.
Something like that.
Yikes. Wow.
We should start assigning mythical creatures to everybody. I don't know what Caresha would be, honestly, but
Wow. Yeah.
vampire's assistant, I don't know. But yeah, I think that she put herself in that predicament though, because on her Twitter, when she had those messages where she was messaging the woman whose name I cannot remember right now, but one of Diddy's other side girlfriends, when she was saying, if I wanted, Diddy would have you on your knees like that. It didn't age well for her.
It's street talk, whatever, but in light of the recent events, it looks bad. It looks real bad.
Yeah, and like, has she come out later and been like, okay, guys, I was not referring to any of that. I didn't know he was doing any of that, but she didn't do that at all. Possibly it's understandable because I think the lawsuit she was already called, like, going to be part of the whole lawsuit and everything. So maybe that's why. Maybe her lawyer said just don't speak out about this, but.
Yeah, I would hope that she has representation that's telling her that. I would hope that her team, whoever her team is, I hope that they're working on her behalf to keep her, just say, just be quiet about that, because this could come back to haunt you. But I think the young lady that you're talking about, she had gotten pregnant by Diddy at one point in time.
Oh yeah, that actually, you're right. I think that was when she was doing interviews and she was saying she didn't keep the baby.
Yeah.
But she loved him at the time, so it didn't matter. I understand. I would say I don't understand when you, like, I guess if your love language is receiving things and you're acts of service and he's giving you all this stuff, I guess it makes sense that you would fall in love. But it's kind of odd when, like, he clearly can't fully love you if he's with several other women, like, doing the same thing for them. I don't know, but that's a whole different thing.
Yeah,
Caresha's back and forth with that. Like, I'm not sharing my man anymore after this is the last year.
But I was like, wow, she even admitted it. There's a lot going on in there. But this is not just a scarcity mindset. There's a whole lot of stuff in there psychologically that's going on. I mean, a lot.
Clearly.
Wow.
If you know that this is not the life that you want and you don't want to be sharing somebody, but you're doing it just for the money, I do agree there has to be something else going into that. Out of curiosity, what other things do you think would go into that?
I knew you were going to ask that question. And I had nothing prepared for that one. No, I mean, I guess off the top of the dome, for a lot of folks that come from the hood, and I'm one of them, we dealt with trauma, and we didn't know it was trauma at the time because we thought it was just normal living, but it carries into our adulthood and how we process things. Caresha, she had to endure her mother going to jail. I mean, I think she was an adult at the time, but she still had to step up and take care of her siblings, that time when her mom was in jail. So there's a lot of stuff that had to be dealt with, and a lot of probably some things that she had to do, I'm sure, because I think that there was some legal stuff, some legal trouble she got into as well, trying to make sure that she could take care of things and handle things, and she did things the best way she knew how. So when we think about all the other things, scarcity mindset, poverty, and just all the other things that go along with it that we don't even know about, things that she hasn't even revealed to the general public. And I'm certain that there's something else going on that's driving her decisions. And the folks that that are benefiting from her in terms of her talent, her looks, because she's a pretty girl. That does play a part because sex sells, so there's that. So they're benefiting from that, and she's benefiting from it too as well. But just to have that whole mentality that of using that as a way to make money. I'm not judging, I'm just observing.
I feel like that weighs on you though, and I think that's something that people don't really talk about enough. Like, I think I was thinking about this the other day, and I was wondering, like, a lot of the people who did use the whole sex sales model, like, I mean, as far as their careers, like, that was heavily what they were doing, and it wasn't a whole lot of talent stuff that they were putting out there. Like, where are they now that I think about it?
Yeah.
Where's their image, their money? I mean, I'm sure some of them made it out well, but I actually can't think of anyone right now
Right, right.
that put sex first and foremost and came out on top and didn't have like struggles afterwards. So I don't know that that's the best business model to go for. And I think that after you get, that's why I was thinking, maybe she still has a little bit of some kind of mindset going on where she's stuck, because I
Mhm.
feel like once you get more money, you would think that it would broaden your mind to different experiences, to different ways of thinking. Oh, I don't need a man to make all this money. I don't need a man, to support me and pay my bills.
Mhm.
Not that it's not good to have those things, but like, if that's all you're talking about in your music, that's all you're portraying as your image,
Right,
after a while I think that gets old. And also, you also get old. Like, I think that's a young person's game.
right. Agreed, agreed. But it's not a sustainable model. And interestingly enough, a lot of the folks that were in hip hop, because I came up, around the time when hip hop was in its inception, and seeing it evolve over the last, 50 years. A lot of the folks that were in it in its heyday, and that was like mid '90s, the golden era of hip hop. A lot of these folks they've transitioned into acting. LL Cool J, Ice Cube, directing movies. They've transitioned. They're doing different things. They've evolved. They still might rap a little bit here and there. Will Smith, he's a really good example. I mean, he just became megastar. That kind of stuff. But they've transitioned and they've diversified what they do. Yeah. But I'm thinking like, like even Queen Latifah, like so she's one yeah, did a good transition, a good flip into the acting world, and she's got The Equalizer. That's a great show.
Yeah.
And so she's been doing a lot of things, and she got to start with Steve Martin, a lot of movies that she's done. So there's not a lot of women in particular that have made that transition. There are some. There are some.
It's different when you're mixing your sex appeal with your talent. Like, you're putting, like, Beyonce is a good example. Like, you're
Right.
mixing it all together, and you can still hear her singing, dancing, and she has sex appeal. But
Right.
if the forefront is just sex appeal, all of my lyrics are about sex, and that's basically me, sex and getting money from men after having sex, or
Right.
it's
Right.
like, at some point it's going to be hard to diversify from that image.
Hmm.
You haven't really put your whole career, you haven't put anything on the table except for that. So like,
Right.
it limits your future. I mean, I know some people are probably gonna be upset. It shouldn't, I guess.
I'm gonna say it, probably gonna piss a lot of people off, but you can't be a one-trick pony. You got to be able to do more than one thing. And even if that one thing is having a product that you sell, not sex in particular, but if that's what you sell, whatever. But
Well,
I'm just saying, but a product that you can earn money off of while you're resting in bed sleeping, that it's still being sold. That is what
yeah,
your point where you want to get to. You only have so many hours in a day you can work. You got to figure out something else.
yeah,
But
yeah. I think Caresha was starting to do that with her whole
the
talk show.
podcast,
You
yeah.
know,
Hmm.
that whole golden showers thing, like, she
Yeah,
she could have left that, like,
that was some craziness right there. But
no one asked at all. No one at all. And then Caresha, I like golden showers.
I actually watched the video again, and I was looking at her. She was saying it. It seemed disingenuous.
She
Like,
was drinking, though. It was like a shot at drinking thing, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, I mean, yeah, that's possible. But she just didn't seem like didn't seem. I don't know. I didn't buy it. I'm not, and I know she walked it back. She did walk it back. And said, this never happened to me. I never did that. That was basically basically for the ratings.
For clout, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that's also a possibility. But even
Yeah.
with that, you gotta be like, I think it's kind of crazy. I was gonna say toxic, but
Mhm.
mindset that people have about social media, where I can do anything on social media, and just as long as I get the views and the money and the clout,
Right.
this is your reputation that you're putting out there. This is, yes, people's memories are short and they will eventually forget, probably. But someone somewhere far down the road is gonna make a whole video about you, and this
Yeah.
is part of your legacy.
Internet forever.
Like, is this what you want in your legacy? Like,
Right. Right. But you know what? Depending upon where you come from, it doesn't matter. You don't really care about that. You only care about it when you get older and wiser, and then it's like somebody brings it back to your attention. Because I remember there was so many artists that happened to, they were younger, they were wild, they were crazy, and then they got older, and then they were like, oh my gosh, I was so crazy then. I would never do that. I don't want my kids to have to experience what I experienced and do what I did. I don't want them. I want them to be so far removed from anything that I did. Even Caresha said that.
yeah, actually, that's what I was gonna say. She actually
Yeah.
said that about her daughter. People came for her too. They're like, wait
Yeah.
a minute, no.
Yeah.
How are you going to live this lifestyle and promote it to our children, but
Yeah.
you don't want to, you're not doing that. But I think that's something that people have to wake up and realize too. I think people are waking up to the reality that
Yeah.
is the lifestyle that people are promoting to you, that celebrities are promoting, quote unquote, is not the lifestyle that they're living. Clearly, and even if it is, because some of them are still doing some things on the side.
Yeah.
Sukihana is another rapper, but she was recently arrested for dealing some substances. So some of them are still about that life, but the point is that their children aren't. They're not putting their children through that. Their children are not in the corner dealing or doing any of these things.
Right.
But there's something else I was going to say about the men. You were talking about men and Will Smith's transition. It's crazy to think that, even because a lot of people think about the gender and they're like, oh, it's bad that women, once they get older, that their vision, the view of them changes. But it's actually similar for men. Can you imagine someone who is 55, 60 still rapping about selling drugs and being on the corner and murking people? Like, after a while, you're just like, sir.
Right.
Relax.
Right. And also too, just for the audience, because a lot of my viewers are ladies. The patriarchy isn't lost on me. I do understand how it is easier in a lot of cases for men to make those transitions, because it's just the way we're seen. We're seen as, I don't know, more marketable as we get older versus women. Like, beauty fades. We can, I hate to say it like this, but we could be ugly and rich. Well, but because there's that, but I get it. So I'm not, it isn't lost on me. So it is easier in a lot of ways. I've seen it and I'm aware of it. So I just wanted to say that, put that as a disclaimer so nobody comes for me.
Oh yeah, that's a good point to make. I don't know. Part of me thinks that beside patriarchy aside, because that's also, but part of me thinks it's. And also, I guess the patriarchy does make it so that women have to go further to make, further, like as far as their sex appeal and stuff, to make more money. But I feel like, I don't know, when men come out with these things, they don't take it quite as far. Like, women, when they build these careers and stuff off of this, these are certain kinds of women. They're out here twerking everywhere that they go. Everything is, it's like, certain man, it's great that you have that skill. Amazing. But also,
right.
Can we see something else? Possibly. Whereas the guys, like, normally they're not the young ones. Some of them are still, they're doing their thing. They're rapping about crazy. But even them, they're rapping about these things. They're comedians, or they're comedic. They might not be comedians. They're comedic, so you see that as their part of their aspects. Some of them are also doing podcasts now, so you see so many different aspects of them.
Right.
While they're talking about all these crazy things. Not that it's great, but the women, I feel like some of them just don't. It's just not the same. I don't know.
I wanted to ask you that question. Why do you think that is?
I mean, I think that, I do think a big part of it is because that's what's pushed right now. That, it's pushed for you to be that provocative, that out there. That's the image that, for some reason, the industry wants to project to everybody. But I also think it has to do with being short-sighted somehow. Everybody can be short-sighted, but on the women's part specifically right now. Like, you don't think about the fact that your appeal is going to wane. It's just a natural part of life. People don't, it doesn't mean that it's going to wane for everybody. Like, people will still be attracted to you. The sex appeal is still there. But eventually, like everything, it gets old. Like, people just don't, some people might just not be as attracted to you twerking at 60, 70 as they are when you were in your 20s. And I think that, so my answer would be, I think that women tend to go further because they don't have they're going with what society wants, as well as not having the foresight to think that, what is this sustainable? What can I do next? Yes, I have to do all this crazy stuff right now, but what am I going to pivot to later?
Right.
Like, I think an example would be Meg Thee Stallion. Yes, she is twerking everywhere, but she also went to college. She decided to get her degree. Right. She's an independent artist, still having a distribution deal. So obviously she had some kind of foresight to realize that, okay, I can't be just twerking everywhere is not going to do it for me alone. Like, I probably got to do something to build a brand. She does workouts now with Nike. Like,
wow,
she diversified completely because she realized this is not all that I am. And
right. That's good stuff. That's good. I'm encouraged by that, because maybe in her camp, she probably has the right people around her that are helping her make wise decisions. Yeah, use your sex appeal, but at the same token, make sure that you have a plan B. Your plan B is your education, because if you decide to run for office, you're not going to be twerking on Congress floor. You're not going to be doing that. You're going to be talking like you got some sense, right? And so, and you're going to need to know what you're talking about. So there is that, and plus you have the education to back it up, if that's what you decide to do, but you have an exit strategy, if you will, and I think there's a lot of folks that they need people around them that are helping them make those kinds of decisions.
I agree. I didn't mean to interrupt your thought, but it reminded me of something that T-Pain said, actually, because now he has a podcast as well. But he was talking about how when he was first, he was in an interview, I think this was with the Breakfast Club, I could be wrong, but he was in an interview and he was saying that, because when I was, up and big and making all this money, he had bought houses for some of his team. There was some craziness that he did with his money, but when people were talking to him that were in the industry, they were just like, the money's gonna keep coming in. And there will always be money, like they were talking about it, like there was never gonna be a downtime. So he spent like there was never gonna be a downtime. And then when the downtime came, he didn't have any money. So I do feel that some people need people in their camp to obviously say, hey, it's not always, the money doesn't always flowing in like this. Like,
Right. Put your money away, put it into some, some investments that are going to earn money over time. Compounding interest is a thing, and people should know about that. If they're going to have a financial advisor, tell them how to do things. Make sure you understand the basics, so that way you can track it. Versus they're just telling you, oh yeah, put money into this blah 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 blah. They're using all these big terms. If you don't understand it, you're going to have to find somebody that can break it down to you to make where you can understand it and how it makes sense, and you can actually see it on paper or on the computer screen, however you do it. But yeah, and I think that's why I think a lot of folks are getting hip to it.
Yes, some of them are, which is very encouraging. But so we can summarize, I suppose. In summary.
In closing,
basically, you need people in your corner who are going to help you with financial decisions, help you see outside of the little bubble that you are in, because everybody has their own bubble and their biases. At least that's what I'm gathering. And also think about when you're making decisions, who you're going to attach yourself to, who you're letting be part of your public image. Think about how that's going to look for your legacy. What is their background? That's just my takeaway as far as the downfall of Caresha goes. Hopefully she can recover from this. It's just gonna take some effort. But Coach Jason, what do you have?
Just one or two things I would say in terms of Caresha. Since she's so good at podcasting, I'm hoping that she has people in her circle, or if she has the presence of mind to think about the fact that she can do it herself. She can actually do it herself, and it may not be as big and as grand as being on Revolt TV, but since she does have an audience, she can actually start her own podcast and still make pretty good money because she's got the followership.
Yeah,
they'll follow her over because they like her. She's like I said, she's marketable in a lot of different ways. Not just because she's a city girl and she twerks everywhere. I'm saying she's marketable because she's doing it. She's already done it, so she can do it again. As I said earlier, teams are important. Who you hang around with is important. Ensure that if you're going to be in the limelight doing something and you're going to be making a lot of money, get some folks that are smarter than you, that work for you to ensure that you have money in the bank, making money, so that way you still can live.
Yep.
Yeah, that's it.
All right. It was awesome joining you. We definitely will have to do this again. Awesome. People, if you enjoyed this content, please, in this style of video, because it's a little different than my norm, please like, share, comment, subscribe. Please leave some comments down below for your thoughts. Do you think this is the end for Caresha? Do you really think she can recover from this? If you'd like to say something to your followers?
Yes, because I really enjoy having conversations with people. But to my followers, hey, check out everything with AJ. She has some really good content on her site on YouTube. You're on YouTube. You're on TikTok. You are everywhere.
Yes. Oh, you're also on TikTok and everywhere as well. YouTube, I think you're Positive Perspectives, right? Or are you still under?
Yeah. Well, no, on TikTok under Coach Jason Leon. And everywhere else, Positive Perspectives. Okay. Yeah, so we'll have all that stuff in the descriptions for you guys.
Yep. Yeah. All right.
Thank y'all. Appreciate it. Thank you for joining us on this week's episode. We look forward to talking with you next week about the topics that shape your world. See you next time. Peace out.